private company outside of here. And so, you know, here's where I exercise a little bit of civil disobedience. If I get a red light ticket, it goes in the trash. Because there is no legal remedy. Read the bottom of the ticket. It says do not go to court, don't schedule a date. It literally is a contract between you and a private entity. Red light cameras are unconstitutional. I think they're immoral, and I frankly refuse to even care when I get one in the mail. So, I would oppose it. I would submit, I would sponsor, I would co-author, I would do whatever it takes to ban red light cameras. But I do have one sitting from Clean, so if you guys put it in the paper there, they might come look for me, but I think the statute of limitations is up.
Mr. Mays.
I'm totally opposed to red light cameras. I hate them. It's just to make the red light camera makers and owners a lot of money. That's basically what it does, number one. And number two, it makes the city a lot of money. And studies have shown it doesn't help. I don't know why, you know, Killeen doesn't rise up on their own. You know, we have voters in Killeen too. So I would say Killeen folks need to go to their own people and get rid of those red light cameras. But I totally oppose red light cameras.
Yeah.
It's an interesting day for this to come up because I got a letter in the mail today from Italy, where I was 2 years ago. And Italy apparently somehow is giving me a speeding ticket from 2 years ago when I was never stopped by any officer. I don't know when, where, or anything else about it. To me, that's the same as red light cameras. They shouldn't exist. I think we should ban them at the state level.
Okay, now this is from the audience, and I'm taking me out of this because I'm taking me out of this. Who are some legislators you would seek for guidance or a mentorship if you are elected? And I'm taking me out of this.
I'll tell you one legislator I like a lot, Brian Hughes. He's running for Senate right now too. I think he's done a great job in the House. He's a very principled Christian conservative. Someone I admire. I've had a chance to work with him a little bit, and he's someone I would definitely be interested in continuing to talk to if he gets there. Now, he's got a great opponent that I like a lot and respect too in David Simpson, so please don't take this as me endorsing Brian, because David's great too, but I really enjoy Brian's approach to legislation.
Mr. Mays.
I may be running for the wrong office, but I'd say Stickland.
His head just got bigger.
I've told people before, and I really mean it, that I couldn't run for the office if I had to run for the House. My head would explode. The abuse that Molly has put up with and others of her conservative caliber is obscene. So I would talk to Stickland and see how in the world have you stood it. Aside from him, Bob Hall, Konni Burton, they've been mistreated. They've stood up. I would talk to them, and then probably Brian Birdwell. You know, I would look to Brian.
Mr. Grisham.
I'll tell you who I have talked to, because I'm not a politician, so I didn't even know how to file my paperwork. But obviously, at the risk of sounding like I'm sucking up, the two representatives that are here, Senator Burton and Molly White, I've actually reached out to both. And also Bob Hall. And I'll tell you what, Bob Hall, look into his campaign. That is a true grassroots conservative who went up against the establishment and kicked their tail, paying just 1/10 of what their opponents spent. And so obviously I reached out to him because not only is he a conservative hero of mine, but he's also going through what I went through, which is being a poor man trying to win a rich race. And I love Matt Shaheen. Matt Rinaldi is another guy I've reached out to quite frequently. Jonathan Stickland has become a really good friend of mine as a champion in the House. And also Don Huffines to a degree as well. He also took a lot of beating. And let me tell you this is another reason why I want to get into Senate, because I sort of felt like, for the most part, because there are so few true blue conservatives, I think, in the Senate. There's a lot of Republicans, but there are so few of the caliber that we need up there. And when Stigland and Huffines were being just beaten to death on the floor and just being treated completely unprofessionally. I mean, I just wanted to scream. Actually, I got told to be quiet a couple times up in the rafters. These kinds of representatives need support, and they need someone to be able to back them up. And we've, like I said, I'm gonna not mention the people in this room because I don't want to puff up their heads or make it sound like I'm sucking up. But I mean, there were people that did that, but there weren't enough that stood up for these kind of people. So those are the ones that I would reach out to just off the top of my head. There is a really good list, and thankfully there's more this time than there was last time, and hopefully there will be more next time than there was this time.
CJ,
sir,
tell them what true blue means, because there's a lot of weird faces when you said blue.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean blue in the Democrat sense. I mean people who believe in the American values, the principles that this country was founded on, the constitutional devotion, and the principle, moral, and values that created this country and founded the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy. Those are people who are true and stick to that field of blue that's on our flag. That's how I equate it. That's how I've always sort of equated it to. So.
Did you answer that question? Yes, you did. That's right. Yes, you did. Sorry. Okay. We're going to go ahead and let each of you have 3 minutes to just kind of let us know some closing comments from you. If there's anything that you'd like to talk about, maybe something that we didn't cover tonight, but you've got 3 minutes. Go ahead, Mr. Downton.
I'll introduce myself a little since I was late to get to it at the beginning. My name is Ryan Downton. I'm the president and one of the owners of Little River Healthcare Kids Daughters Clinic here in Temple. I'm a father, I'm a small businessman, and I'm a big government survivor. And what I mean by that is my first medical business, when Obamacare passed 4 years ago, was dealt a devastating blow. It forced me to sell the company. And it made me realize you can't just let government affect you. You need to stand up and fight back. And that's what we need in the Texas Senate. We need people who are willing to fight for our rights, willing to fight for our values, and when necessary, willing to fight the establishment. I'm proud to say I'm the one candidate in the race who can say I've been doing that. I've been in court with President Obama for the last 4 years defending the congressional map passed by the state of Texas. His Justice Department and I really don't see eye to eye at all. My first deposition, out of the 6 times they've deposed me, they handed me their guidelines and said, this is how we think redistricting should be done. Did you read it? I told them, yes, I read it. And they said, well, it doesn't look like you followed it. And I said, you're right, I didn't follow it. What you're asking us to do is to violate Texas state law and to violate the federal Constitution. And we're not going to do that. We're going to pass a legal, conservative map that the Texas people support. And if we need to be in court with you for the next 10 years, then that's what we'll do. I've also run against the Republican establishment in Texas. In 2012, I took on a seated state representative. He passed a bill, in my mind, giving amnesty to illegal immigrants. He filed a bill. Thankfully, it didn't pass. And I disagreed with him, and I felt that I should get out there and take him on and take my shot. So I will continue to do that if I'm elected to this office. I will fight for you. I will fight for Texas principles. I will fight for Texas values. Ryan Downton for Senate District 24.
We're under attack. There's no time for politics as usual. It's time to take a stand. Together. Now. As the left loves to point out, we're a house divided. The narrative is that portions of our party have shifted right. Traditional Republicans are on one side and the Tea Party types are on the other. We fight among ourselves and chaos ensues. The left loves it, saying we're unfit, unwilling, and unable to govern. They give today's turmoil over the Speaker of the House as an example. I reject the premise that the root of the problem is a rightward shift of a portion of the base. Traveling around this large district, I find that members of GOP clubs and Tea Parties have remarkably the same views. All agree that our border should be secure. All agree that government is too large. All agree abortion is wrong. We should have freedom of religion and the right to bear arms. All agree we must stand against urban overreach and special interest. All agree we owe our children a good education. The voters haven't changed. What has changed is that there's an ongoing awakening to the truth that many of our representatives aren't conservatives and have never been conservatives. The turmoil is because they, and some in party leadership, are upset that the pigeons are seeing them for what they are. They're mad that the jig is up and are pitching a hissy fit. John Boehner didn't lose his speakership because the electorate changed. He lost it because the people of Texas and other states woke up, saw their own representatives complicit with Boehner, and demanded a change. The same dynamic is working on the state level. We can't allow the elites to divide us. Let's recognize our philosophical kinship, offer one another a measure of grace, and join to fight a common enemy. Many of you have been long in the fight. Thank you. I come late, but I'm here now to stand with you. May God bless our efforts, and may God bless Texas.
I am not a politician. I'm running because I'm kind of fed up with politicians. My wife and I have been stockpiling deodorant and anything we can do to mask the smell of becoming a politician. I'm running because I'm fed up. I'm running because the Constitution means something to me. For my entire life, I have stood up for what is right, sometimes when it's very unpopular. There are some times where I stood up in this area, and they were very unpopular. But what no one can say about me is that I don't have a backbone. That I'm not willing to stick my neck out and do what's right in spite of what the conventional wisdom may tell us. When I was a young sergeant, I recommended my commander for an Article 15. You don't do that as an enlisted soldier. I did that, and I won. I got promoted to platoon sergeant after that. When I was in 2009, after Obama got elected, I had a very popular military blog, and I was very pointed about his policies. As a soldier, you're not supposed to do that. I got in a lot of trouble for that. I stood up and I said no. I told the commanders, as they were trying to tell me to stop writing the truth, that you don't have any authority to tell me to stop writing the truth. I'm not breaking any laws, I'm not breaking any regulations, and I'm not lying about anything. And I won, but I stood up. I have a record and a history of standing up for morals, Christian values, and Christian principles. Even though I was in the federal government, I stood up to the federal government. While I was in Afghanistan, I got in trouble because I was actually talking about how we were not training the Afghan soldiers on protecting the rights of the Afghan people. I wasn't supposed to talk about that. I did that. I've gone in front of 4-star generals to stand up for what's happened here locally about my activism for gun rights and them trying to tell me to stop. And it was very unpopular. And I wasn't making any friends. And quite frankly, I didn't even get a retirement award because of it. But it didn't matter to me. It was right. Standing up for Texas is what's right. And because I have that history of standing up to the establishment, of standing up for our rights, for standing up for our values, you know that when I get into Austin, it's going to be the exact same thing. The last thing that Austin wants is to see me every day. And that's what's going to happen if you put me in there into District 24. I want to go to Austin to serve you, not to be served by you. And I need your vote, cjgrisham.com, and I appreciate your support. Connie, thank you for holding this, and thank everybody for coming out today. And that's my 33 minutes, I think.
you. Thank y'all so much, all of you. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Mays, Mr. Grisham, I appreciate it so much. They have all passed their first test because they were told not to come. So, give a big round of applause, please.